Alright, hello you lovely people, and welcome to the Llamas of the Round. Today, I'm going to do the best I can, and in this case, it's gonna manifest in another VOD review. This is actually my own gameplay. I played this game a while ago, so I'm not exactly sure how it goes, but I do remember the game, and the reason I want to do this review for you is because I've been coaching a bit recently, and probably the number one biggest thing that I see people in lower elo really missing out on is farm and objectives, and the importance of these two things. And this particular game I remember as being very, actually just a perfect example of how you can carry a game through emphasis on farm and turrets and objectives, and not so much on kills. In fact, if I remember correctly, I carried this game pretty well, but I didn't even get a kill, actually. I don't think I got a kill. As you can see, I am laning against a Galio, so, you know, getting a kill is not exactly an easy thing, because he's just going to build magic resist and be really tanky. But this game should serve as a perfect example for you, and it should show you why farming is so goddamn important. And if you can farm as well as I did in this game, in your own elo, it should get you such a huge advantage in your items that you should be able to carry games extremely reliably. And that's the thing about farm, is that when you compare it to something like kills, getting farm between games is easily the most reliable way to actually carry, because you can't always guarantee kills. I mean, it depends on the champion and a whole bunch of other factors, but farm doesn't really depend on any factors. You can just always get it if you're good at last hitting. Now, as you can see, I'm letting Galio push into me here. That's because I expect that the Shyvana started bottom side at level 1, so I expect the Shyvana to be top side at about 3 to 4 minutes in. And also, if I let the Galio push into me, there's a chance that Gragas can actually gank him if he wants to. Normally, if I'm playing against a top laner that doesn't have a lot of CC, I'm not really going to fear a Shyvana gank, because Shyvana doesn't have CC, so she needs crowd control to set up her own ganks from her laners. But Galio does have a lot of CC, so it is a big threat, that combination. And as you can see, I choose to actually take a disadvantageous fight here with the Galio because I see the Gragas coming in for the gank. Surprisingly, he didn't go towards the plant, so we're just gonna keep chasing him here. And he's probably gonna successfully execute. I don't think we can actually catch up to him. But, yeah, so he's gonna die here. But him dying here actually gets me experience. So even though I don't get the kill and I don't get the gold, I will still get the experience, which means if I teleport back to lane now, and with the way that the minions are positioned, I think it's kind of hard to tell here, but I think the wave is positioned really well for me, because of the time at which I chose to take the fight, and the timing of the gank was pretty good. Yeah, so see, I TP back into lane, and and the minions are still perfectly frozen for me, so I basically lost nothing from chasing down the Galio, whereas he loses a bunch of gold and a bunch of experience from all the minions he didn't get. But I got experience because he died when I was close to him, even though I didn't get the kill. And also, you can see now that I have a dagger and a boot in my inventory. So I'm building towards the Berserker Greaves. And he has a null magic mantle. So very predictably, this lane is just going to be him getting tankier and me getting more and more damage. I harass him a little bit because I see an opportunity for free harass. But basically the plan when going into this lane is just to play relatively defensively if I can before level 6. And then once I start getting some levels and once I start getting some items, some items, I'm going to be pressuring the guy a lot harder and getting some vision down for myself, and basically just pushing him under the turret the whole game, try to get as much CS for myself as I can, while also denying CS from him, and at the same time making sure that I won't die to a Shyvana gank, or an Azir gank for that matter. So he goes in here, so that's a pretty good sign that Shyvana is probably nearby. The wave is pushed up, I'm pushing towards him, he goes into me, and he really, really wants to take that fight. I'm kiting him into my minions though, so that means he's going to take a ton of damage from that because he actually overextended, and I'm surprised here at this point. I'm kind of like, okay, why did he go into me like that? If Shyvana's not here, it makes no sense. But he does something really smart, actually. By going too far in, he actually baits me to think that he's just being stupid, and because of that bait, bam! You see that? So that was Galio playing a really, really good mind game on me. So he wins the mind game, goes in on me, Shyvana pops out of the brush, and I'm forced to flash away. So this is why you play defensively on Kayle pre-6. Is because even against a jungler that doesn't have a lot of crowd control, or doesn't have any hard crowd control herself, if you're playing against a lane that does have CC that can set it up, then you will be punished hard for it. He goes in on me again. I didn't really dodge his CC the way I should have, so I'm forced to go back and be a lot more defensive here. Now, because I have the Fleet Footwork rune, I'm not as scared as I would have been otherwise, because Fleet Footwork heals you over time, and I also have my W every now and then to help me out. So I don't really need to go back to base, I just need to stay under my turret, essentially. And still try to get as much farm as I can. So if we take a look at the CS here, you notice that I lost my flash because the wave was pushing towards him and the Shyvana capitalized with a good gank, and Galio won the mind game. I stick around here for some more CS. I just want to push up the wave when Galio is gone, and I need the extra CS for an item spike, I think. But if we take a look at the CS, you'll see that I have 54 and he has 31, so I'm already winning in that department. And this is just from wave management and basically just being good at last hitting. And this is, like I said, it's probably the most important skill in the entire game. I'm not even joking. The most important skill in League of Legends is the ability to last hit. If you can last hit properly, you will be ahead in gold, which means you're going to have bigger items, which means you can win trades, and if you can win trades, that means you have the pressure in the lane. And if you have the pressure in the lane, then you can start softening up your opponent for kills, or you can get turret pressure and get vision, and basically it's the way you snowball, right? And that's how the snowball starts. The snowball starts with a farm advantage. Everybody thinks that League of Legends is all about kills and you have to get kill advantages and all this, but really, farming is the best way to do it. So you can see now that I have my Berserker Greaves, I'm going to switch my playstyle. Okay, I should probably talk a little bit about this. There are basically three types of Kayle players. There are the kind of Kayle players that will play hyper defensively every game. Then there are the kind of Kayle players that will play... See, so again, this is the way the Galio is positioning. I can see that he chooses to take a fight against me inside my own minion wave, which is such a stupid thing to do, and it makes no sense. And I can also see that I don't have vision in my own river, I only have vision in the Tribrush. So when Galio walks up like that and tries to take a fight against me, and he tries to all-in me inside a huge minion wave, I already know that Shyvana's behind me, and that's why I'm backing off. I'll get back to the other point I was making in a little bit. I see Shyvana ulting in, so I'm probably going to ult myself immediately. That would be, yeah, so that's the smart thing to do. When you see Shyvana ulting in towards you, just ult immediately. Now the Shyvana actually goes too far forward here, which means I can turn around with a Q and with Fleet Footwork and start bashing her a little bit. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. So look at that. So because the Shyvana actually goes too far forward, I'm going to turn it back a little bit. Hold on. So get the camera back on myself if I can. Let's take a look at that again. So I go down, I ward the Tribrush, and I start pushing the wave again. Again, because I want to get the pressure down, and I want to get as much CS as possible. I want to get that last minion, but I can't because of the way Galio's playing. And I can kind of tell just from where he's walking, okay, there's a Shyvana behind me. She comes in, I ult, and the Shyvana over-chases. This right here is where she needs to turn around, and she doesn't. See, she keeps walking. She keeps walking forward. She even takes a turret hit. I mean, what? So, of course I want to capitalize on that, and the way I do that is by turning around and beating the shit out of her. And what that does for me now is it ensures that she cannot gank me again, because she has to go back into her own jungle, or she has to go back to base. So, despite of the fact that I just lost my ultimate to a Shyvana gank, and I know that Shyvana has red buff, I can play hyper-aggressively still, so I'm going to go straight back to that playstyle. And again, if we keep an eye on the CS, you can see I'm dodging the Galio CC, I'm dodging it, weaving in and out, and I'm just auto-attacking him non-stop. You can see I'm totally abusing my ranged advantage here. He just went from full health to less than half health. I dodged all of his CC, and I kept autoing him that whole time. He actually gets a pretty good trade in here. This is not very nice for me. But the other one was very nice. And on top of that, you have to keep in mind he's losing minions under his own turret, because I'm pushing in. I'm being the aggressive one. I'm the one who has Berserker Greaves and 2 daggers, and I'm going to use that pressure to my advantage. And that's why vision control is so important now, because we've already seen that the Shyvana is more than happy to gank me, so I need that ward in that Tribrush. And I can see Shyvana's mid lane now, so again, I'm going to capitalize. I see, okay, the enemy jungler's mid lane, Galio is out of vision. That means I'm going to punish and I'm going to push, because that's how that works. Now I probably have some sort of an item spike right about now, and Galio is based, and I don't want to fall behind in that 1v1 in terms of items, so I'm going to base myself, get myself some more items. Now, as a top laner, one thing that's really, really smart to do is to get yourself a pink ward and put it in the river. If you buy a ward and put it in the river, it's much harder for the enemy jungler to actually loop around and gank you from behind, so this is something that you really want to do if you're attempting to play aggressively in your game. So we're 10 minutes into the game. I have pretty much complete vision control and complete lane pressure and control as a late game hyper carry. I've been ganked by the enemy jungler twice. I even lost my flash one of those times, and yet look at the CS difference. I'm level 8, he's level 7, the wave is pushing into me. I have 90 CS, I have twice his CS. I actually remember playing this game, and around this time, Galio was bitching in all chat. He was like, he was typing a bunch of C's, like, as if he was falling asleep because of how boring the lane is. And I replied to him in all chat, I said, you can sleep all you want, I still have twice your CS, baby. Right? And that's what's happening right here. I have twice his CS, I'm completely out-pressuring him, and everything in this lane is going in my favor to the point where I can abuse everything that my champion is all about. And this is despite of the fact, so you see Shyvana in the river, right? That's that pink ward saving me. She's actually taking the pink ward right now. We can see that she's taking it, but now I know that she's behind me because she just took that ward. So I'm going to push up the last of these minions, and then I'm going to back the hell off, right? Because I have to assume that she's in that brush right there. So I just spent 75 gold on a pink ward, and it saved my life, and because my team saw that she was topside, they took the dragon for free. So do you think that's worth it? Do you think spending 75 gold and walking into the river is worth it if it saves your life and gives your team a dragon? I think that's worth it. Okay. Back to the point I was making earlier. You can see I'm playing defensively now as well, because I have no vision of this Shyvana. And now I see Shyvana in the mid lane, so I go back to my minions and go back to having high pressure, and I go in on the Galio yet again with some more auto attacks. And again, this is just the difference between knowing when the enemy jungler is and not knowing it. You can clearly see the exact positioning of me in the lane and the way I'm playing defensively versus aggressively. You can see that it depends 100% on where Shyvana is and whether or not I have vision of her. So, okay, I think finally I can get back to the original point I was making. And that point was just that there are 3 kinds of Kayle players in this game. There are the kinds of Kayle players that will play hyper defensively and just pray that they can outscale, and they will play defensively pretty much all the time. There are the kinds of players that will play hyper aggressively, and they will die a lot and feed a lot because the enemy jungler will gank them. And then there's a third kind of Kayle, and that's the kind of Kayle that I'm showcasing in this game right here. And that is the kind of play where you play aggressively, but you do it in a way that makes sense and in a way that takes into account the pressure from the enemy jungler, and sometimes the enemy mid laner will roam to your lane as well. So it's this third kind of style. No matter what kind of top laner you're playing, this is the kind of style that I want you to play, right? Because it's the most adaptive way to play the game. And I feel like I've been doing that really well in this game so far, so even though I'm not getting any kills, you can see that I'm still abusing the Galio just fine, and again, the CS difference is just not closing in his favor. It's actually opening up more and more for me. Okay, I think that's about all the points I have for now, so I might speed it up a little bit here and see what happens. So I get my Nashor's Tooth. When you have your Nashor's Tooth, here's another point. Okay, so Shyvana's ganking bot lane and I have teleport. I should probably be teleporting behind them right now. I don't know why I'm not doing that. I guess it's just lack of map awareness on my part. Or maybe I just don't care. Maybe I want the farm in the top lane more badly. I'm not sure. It's a tough call to make when you're not actually in the game. Yeah, so it was probably just because I saw that the wave in the top lane was huge, because that would have been so much CS to lose if I TP'd out of that. Another point that I wanted to make is when you play Kayle specifically, when you have Berserker Greaves and Nashor's Tooth, you can start taking jungle camps, and you should. Because it gets you so much more experience and so much more gold, and Kayle is a farm lord, okay? She needs as much gold and XP as she can get. Now, again, Galio is out of lane. This has happened a couple times so far where Galio is kind of out of lane and I decide to push up. When your opponent is out of lane, it's very rare that you don't want to punish them for it, and the way you punish them for it is by doing exactly what I just did. You saw me do it. You just punch the crap out of the enemy turret, basically, until it breaks. Now, I see some action going on down here, so I try to roam down for the kill on Shyvana, but Shyvana gets away, and also the 1-for-1 trade is not anything I could do anything about. Maybe I could have, like, flash ulted him or whatever, but I honestly just didn't care enough about it, so... And that's the thing, is if you actually have pressure in your lane, and you are pushing up constantly, then you can roam and help your teammates much more easily. You see the Galio is forced to be under his turret to last hit and to clear the waves, while I have the ability to walk through the entire enemy jungle and walk all the way down just in case my teammates need help. Here's a gank from the Gragas. I don't think this results in anything. If I remember correctly, this is just more harass, yeah. So, Gragas deals magic damage, Kayle deals magic damage, and the guy has Merc Treads and a Spectre's Cowl, right? So we're not going to kill that guy. What we are going to get is the first turret. So again, I'm not getting any kills, but just look at the way that I can help my teammates in comparison to what the Galio is doing. And the Galio is even supposed to be a teammate helping champion, right? His ultimate is all about helping his teammate, and yet he's getting completely outpressured this game. As you can see, I'm building my components for the Rage Blade. I have more than 60 CS over the Galio. We're only 17 minutes into the game. I have basically 10 CS per minute at this point. You can see I'm taking the jungle camps. Again, there's no reason not to. That's just the best way to get fed. And by also taking the jungle camps, I'm kind of forcing Gragas out of his own blue jungle, which is actually good, because if Gragas is out of his blue jungle because I've taken his camps, that means he's forced to gank the other lanes a lot. Now, I see the Galio is ganking mid lane. You guys are seeing that as well right now. I notice he's not in lane, and he's trying to help his team. Basically, he's gotten tired of laning against me because I'm beating the shit out of him. And so, again, we need to punish that, right? if my laner is not in my lane, I need to punish it, and that's why I'm pushing up. So he TPs down. I look at the situation and I ask, okay, I'm gonna need to use the camera here. So the Galio TPs down. This is an Infernal Drake. Infernal Drake is a powerful dragon, but really it's more of a bait than anything. You will see more teams throw and fail and kill themselves at the Infernal Drake than they will at any other Drake, okay? People overestimate the power of the Infernal Drake so much, and they will make so many mistakes around this dragon. So he teleports down. I see there's a ward here, so I can TP to that or even to the try one if I really wanted to. But I can TP to this or to a lane minion in case I want to back my team up. But look at the score and look at the item differences and look at the positioning of these guys. First of all, Veigar just 1v1 to 0 in the mid lane, so he's not a threat, which means this is actually a 3v3, and if Galio TPs in, it becomes a 4v3. But look at the Vayne, and the way this is, I mean, the way my teammates are positioning right here, and considering the score is 9-1, just looking at that just signals to me that my team is not struggling, and they should be fine. I'm also not seeing the Shyvana anywhere, so I don't actually know if the Shyvana is top side, and if Shyvana is coming for me, or if she's down there helping the enemy team. Which means instead of teleporting down, I'm gonna keep punishing the fact that Galio is out of lane, until I get some more information, or until I see that my teammates are actually struggling. Okay, so now I know that the Shyvana is down there, but she's really low, and basically, as long as the Vayne is full health and she's positioning properly, I have no reason to fear that my 9-1 team is gonna lose this fight. So basically I just keep looking at it, keep looking at it, keep looking at it, keep looking at it, and while I'm looking at this whole fight, I'm asking myself, should I teleport in, or should I just keep auto-attacking the turret? And as you can see, I just kept auto-attacking the turret because I find that my teammates are just not struggling. They just don't need my help. If they did need my help, and if the score wasn't 10-1, I probably would have teleported a lot earlier, because it's not just about the Infernal Drake, it's about actually winning that skirmish. Is super important to make sure that your team doesn't throw and get themselves killed. So that kind of teleport can really save you the game, but it can also save you the game to just stay in lane until someone shows up and take, what was that, 1.5 turrets and a whole bunch of CS. Now, since I have so much pressure in the top lane, I can use this opportunity to get some vision for myself. I also check the enemy red buff, because there's no reason not to check it. If it's up, then I can take it for free. Shyvana takes the plant over the wall and doesn't expect that I'm taking her red buff, but for some reason, she thinks that she can kind of stay. I don't know why she thinks that. Maybe she doesn't realize how incredibly fed I am at this point. I mean, I'm 0-0-0, but I have 200 CS and we're not even 20 minutes into the game. Veigar follows up nicely. We get the kill. I get the red buff. I go back and clear the jungle, I suspect. Yeah, because I should, because there's no reason not to take the camps. And again, you can just see that without getting any kills and with only 1 assist, I have basically destroyed the Galio, and his entire presence in the game is irrelevant. The only thing he did for his team was kill himself, basically. He went down to the dragon and killed himself. Now, because I have red buff, I know that I can take this turret, because red buff deals a lot of damage to turrets, and I have a ton of gold in my inventory, but I'm still not backing, because I see that my team is pressuring the mid lane as well, and there's just nobody reacting to the fact that I'm doing this push in the top lane. So really, this game is pretty much a flawless example of the fact that split pushing is really a game of push and pull. It's a game of pressure on the map, and it's a game of pushing and pulling people from and to the different lanes and the different areas of the map, right? We're 20 minutes into the game. I have solo taken 3 turrets in the top lane. The inhibitor is now open, and despite of the fact that my teammates have 6 kills and 4 kills on Veigar and Vayne, I'm actually out-pressuring them. Do you realize how big this is? This is a 0-kill Kayle out-pressuring a 6-1 mid laner and a 4-0 Vayne. Now, granted, they are on my team, they're not on the enemy team, so I guess it's a little harder to make that statement. But the fact is that I have 3 turrets in the top lane, and my teammates are just kind of catching up to me at this point. Speaking of catching up, or not catching up, look at the CS difference again between me and Galio. I've stayed in lane this whole game. I've farmed so many jungle camps. I've taken the enemy red buff. I've gotten my Veigar a kill on the Shyvana. I keep pressuring my lane. I see that there's only a Janna to defend the inhibitor, which is essentially nothing, because Janna can't actually shield an inhibitor and she can't kill me. If it was someone else showing up, maybe I would be a little scared, but since it's just Janna, I can just keep damaging the inhibitor, and that's gonna be it, right? So we're 22 minutes into the game. I have 233 CS, and some of that CS is jungle creeps, which means it's worth even more. Look at the item difference between me and Galio. He's still running around with an adaptive helm. I think he actually went AFK. I don't know what else would be the argument. Like, I'm pretty sure Galio is AFK in base right now. Like, he's probably just rage quitting and standing in the fountain. I think that's what's happening right now. Because I have 150 CS up on him, and the game is basically over. So, this game I got kind of lucky in that I had a lot of opportunities to stay in my lane and to take turrets and to keep farming. You're gonna find in your games that most of the time your teammates will feed and you will have to teleport down. In this case, the game was extra easy for me because I didn't have to do that, because my teammates weren't actually feeding. They were, not only were they not feeding, but they were actually winning. But even if they weren't winning, if the team is just neutral and if they're just not killing themselves, then you can still keep pushing and keep pressuring because you'll win. Your team will win out in gold and in map pressure overall. And I decided to flash forward for just a random kill. I don't know why. I just felt like killing that Sivir, I guess. There's no reason not to. The game is pretty much over at this point. So, you know, nothing really matters. And that is about it at that point. Game is basically over. And as you can see, the Azir can absolutely not handle me in a 1v1. I don't even need my ultimate to win. So I hope that this game really shows you that farm truly is the most important aspect of League of Legends. You know, back in the day when I was gold, I played the game very differently than than I do now, obviously. But I heard a pro player. He was getting interviewed. A professional League of Legends player was getting interviewed, and someone asked him what the most important aspect of the game was, and he said the most important aspect of League of Legends is farm. And it completely changed my view of the game ever since I heard that. And my emphasis on farm is not gonna make me it's not gonna get me flashy plays. It's not gonna enable me to make montages on YouTube. But you know what? At the end of the day, it wins more games than any montage. And I think this game is a perfect example of that. I guess I could go over the fact that my team is, you know, 4-manning the Baron and I'm taking the Dragon, but I don't really think there's anything to be said about it at this point. I mean, like I said, the game is essentially over. We can do pretty much whatever the hell we want as long as we're not throwing. And it's pretty much impossible to throw when Galio is AFK. Well, even if he wasn't, it would still be impossible. Wow, that was a nice flash ult from the Janna. Oh, damn, everybody's going in the fountain. Alright, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you learned something useful from this game. I really think this game is a perfect example of how to play around enemy jungle pressure while taking advantageous trades in your lane and abusing a good matchup, as well as abusing a good power spike, and also just having massive focus on CS and objectives. So take what you can learn from this game and try to apply it in your own games, and hopefully you will see some good results. Hopefully you'll see results similarly to what I'm seeing. And that's about it. So thank you very much for watching. I hope this was useful to you, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.